Are you ready for 2021 to be over? Are you ready for what comes after 2021, which is taxes and year-end planning? Are you ready for all of that? Well, today I'm going to talk about what you need to do to be prepared and provide you with the Quilt Shop's basic bookkeeping checklist. Okay, what you should be doing daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly, annually, the steps, the things you need to be checking off as you do your bookkeeping throughout the year. So please put your comments and questions and things like that in the comment section, and I'll get to them and answer them as soon as I can. My name is Jacob Curtis. I'm a CPA. I'm dedicated to helping quilt shops grow their business. And so I provide helpful tutorials and hints and things like this and tips just for you. So one of those is getting into a rhythm or habit helps you to stay on top of all of the noise and everything else that goes on in your business to ensure that when your income's that when tax time comes, you're not behind, you're not buried and super stressed about all of the work you got to get done and do. And so, like I said, we're going to go through the different things you got to do throughout the year to make sure you don't get behind and you don't get buried by all your work. So what should you be doing on a daily basis in regards to your bookkeeping? Well, the first thing is, number one, is you've got to be entering in your daily sales summary into your bookkeeping system. If you're using an integrated point of sale system or Shopify or some online e-commerce platform, this may be automated as it connects to your bookkeeping software like QuickBooks or Xero or Patriot software or something. These do have integrations that do make this super easy, and you may already be doing this. You don't even know it. You just know that it's connected and it could be doing it already. But if not, then you want to make sure that you are doing it. You're capturing and putting in a daily summary of all of the sales. You're capturing the total sales, your cost of goods sold, your sales taxes, your credit debit card payments, your check and cash payments. All of those things need to be recorded on a daily basis. Number two thing you need to be doing on a daily basis is you need to be opening and closing those registers and counting your cash. And doing that ensures that you have the correct cash in there, that you're not missing something. You didn't, it catches you when you count it daily to see how much you're missing out. And so comparing this to those reports in your point of sale system and recording those discrepancies in your cash count helps you stay on top of your daily sales and things and where you're at with all of that. You might be surprised at how often you miscount a dime or a quarter or a nickel or a penny here and there. It does happen more often than we like to think. The third thing you need to be doing, number three, is you need to take the excess cash out of your cash registers and you take the checks that you received and you actually need to make daily deposits. Okay, you need to get that into the bank account so you can use it in your business again. Depending on your sales volume, you might be able to get away with doing this on a weekly basis, but it's recommended to do it on a daily basis, especially for large volume transactions or larger transactions in general. So the next thing is, what do you need to be doing every week or every other week? This is probably on a 2-week cycle, every other week. So the first thing is you need to be using the profit first system in your business. First and foremost, you've got to be doing that to be able to have a successful cash management system in your business. And so on a every 2 weeks, every other week, you need to transfer the money that's accumulated in your income account and transfer that to the appropriate accounts you have set up, for your inventory and for your operating and all the other accounts you've got set up, right? And then you got to make sure you get those recorded in QuickBooks. Whether you're doing it yourself, you've hired a bookkeeper, you got to make sure that those are being recorded on a weekly basis. Number two is you need to review your inventory, what you have on order, what you've got placed on order, review the amount, your budget, the amount that you got in your inventory account, place new orders, figure out where you're at with inventory. Look at your shopping lists as you throughout the week, throughout the 2 weeks, really. I make a shopping list of all the different things you need to buy. Instead of doing it spur of the moment, you do it every 2 weeks. This really does help you control and understand your inventory and understand what's selling, what's not. So create a shopping list, review that, and then possibly even cancel some back orders when you're doing that. When you're reviewing all of your shopping list for your new inventory, replacement inventory, there might be some old back orders that you need to cancel just to avoid some of those surprise shipments and charges that come through, because they do happen, especially more recently. The third thing you need to do on an every other week basis is pay your bills. Now, a lot of times we set up our utilities and rent and things on auto pay, internet and things like that are all on auto pay. But every once in a while we have those bills that we didn't set up like that. And so what we want to do is we want to make sure that we write checks, we go online through their portals, we make the payments. Some vendors require us to do that. So every 2 weeks is when we want to do that. We don't want to do it as, fly by the seat of our pants kind of action. That's just too chaotic and it causes stress in our lives. So if we get into this habit of setting aside a day every 2 weeks to do these things, it really does help out. And then you got to make sure that those payments and things get recorded in your bookkeeping system, whether you're doing that or you have a bookkeeper to do that. And then the fourth thing you do every other week is if you have payroll or if you have employees, you want to run payroll. If you don't have employees, you want to get paid, right? So coming out of your owner's comp, you'll get paid. Otherwise, you're going to run payroll. You're going to record those payments and those tax deductions in your bookkeeping system. If you have a payroll person, that would be super great because they're going to handle that for you. The other thing is you probably want to get, I recommend you getting an integrated payroll system with your bookkeeping software to keep track of all of the payroll things that are going on in your business. It makes it so much more easier to figure it all out. So getting an integrated payroll system will book all that information in your bookkeeping system. And a really great system is actually going to just automate the entire process, which can be quite cumbersome at times. So that was the fourth thing. Now we're going to move on to stuff we do on a monthly basis. Those things include, so the first thing you got to do is you got to balance your checkbook. In business terms, what that really means is you got to reconcile all of your bank accounts inside your bookkeeping system. If your bookkeeping system doesn't have a reconciliation feature, you may want to look and think about getting a real system or a better improved system. Maybe for the size of your business now, that's fine, but reconciling your bank accounts, your credit cards, and your loan accounts are super important. One, it ensures that you and the bank and whoever else you're working with are all on the same page about how much you've paid, how much you have, that kind of stuff. Number two, it makes sure that you actually get all of the transactions that have occurred into your bookkeeping system, making sure you're caught up and accurate with your bookkeeping. So again, that is the first thing you gotta do. Reconcile your bank accounts, credit cards, and your loan accounts. The next thing is number two, is you gotta file and pay taxes. We got payroll taxes, sales taxes, all kinds of different taxes that may be due at different times throughout the year. So double check on when your taxes need to be done and filed and get those done. For example, I know that federal withholding taxes, payroll taxes, those get paid every single month, even though you file the report quarterly. And then, and there's some states that have sales taxes that you need to file every month as well. So that's another thing. Number two thing is to file and pay taxes. Make sure you're recording all of these, of course, into your bookkeeping system so that you're keeping on top of all of the things you're doing. If you do this once a month, that'll super be helpful, and you'll think your accountant, your CPA, whoever's doing your taxes at your end is going to love it. Okay, the third thing you need to do is you actually need to look at a profit and loss amongst multiple months. So you have, in the first column will be like the list of all of your accounts. You have your income accounts and sales accounts and things, and then you have your expenses accounts. And then column 1 through, and then the next columns 2 through whatever is going to be probably the last 12 months is what I would recommend. So looking at 12 months worth of profit and loss statement. So you can see the trends in your sales. You can see which months you did well. You can think about, if that marketing campaign we started in this month, when did those sales actually come through? I know, what's kind of the lag time between launching a marketing strategy and actually capturing the revenue from that? Is it a week? Is it a month? What is it, right? The other part is to look at your expenses over time, each of those months, compare them, just kind of see if everything looks all right. You're looking for big up and downs, and looking to see if things are categorized right. Because sometimes there might be something in there that looks really weird, and you go in and be like, oh yeah, actually, I typoed that. That's wrong. You just go here and you can fix that, right? So that's why we look at the profit and loss over multiple months, compare multiple months right next to each other. A lot of numbers on a spreadsheet kind of thing, and it does get a little hectic every once in a while. But doing that really gives you an idea of what months you should expect to do well, and which months you should aren't doing swell, either through marketing efforts. We launched a campaign and 2 months later, we get a lot of revenue. We launched a campaign and we got it all that month. Just kind of things like that to track that and help you understand the ebb and flow of your business. We want to do that. Number 4, we want to do that with your balance sheet as well. This balance sheet shows the assets and liabilities of the company. So this shows your bank accounts, any money that you're expecting to receive from customers or from deposits. It also shows your liabilities, what bills you owe, what loans you have outstanding, that kind of thing. And again, we want to look at that. We want to look at that on a comparison basis over 12 months, just to kind of make sure we're on the right page and things like that. The next thing we need to do is look at and make sure you're noting, by the way, when you're looking at these, any potential issues, and write those down so you have a mental note. Okay, I need to fix this, look at this, set goals around that kind of thing. The next one is what you need to do on a quarterly basis. So again, following the profit first method, the first thing you need to do is you need to pay out your owner's profit distribution. Okay, that is for you to go and celebrate and reward yourself. Just make sure it gets recorded in your bookkeeping system. The next thing you need to do, number 2, is again, file and pay payroll taxes. Okay, there are taxes that are due on a quarterly basis versus monthly basis. And so we want to make sure we get those paid and recorded in your bookkeeping system. Number 3, you want to make your estimated income tax payments. Okay, this is for you personally. As the business owner, you probably are making some money. And so you want to make sure that you're paying taxes on a regular basis to avoid any late fees and penalties that the IRS or state may impose upon you. If you don't know how much to pay, I recommend reaching out to a qualified tax preparer, a CPA, to help you figure out how much you need to be paying. Number 4, the fourth thing you need to do is, again, you're going to review all of your expenses. This is a more in-depth review. You're going to list them all out, all the vendors you paid over the last 3 months, and you're going to look and see how much you paid them, and if you still need them. Because more often than not, we actually really do find people that are expenses that you're not really using, you haven't used for a couple months, and so you can cut them off, you can shut them off, things like that. I find it helpful to actually have an accountability partner, a third set of eyes, second pair of eyes, I guess, going through that list with me, and because they ask the hard questions, right? I tell them that's their job. They're supposed to ask me the tough questions and really push me so that I'm more careful with my expenses, and I'm really using expenses that are really going to benefit the business and not just hopefuls. Okay, the 5th thing we need to do, well, I guess it's kind of like part B of number 4, is really just make any notes of things you needed to any vendors you need to cancel, any expenses you need to adjust or change, things like that. And then number 6 is, again, using your profit first methodology. Now you've gone through all of your expenses, you need to adjust your percentages, your transfer percentages, your allocation percentages, whatever you want to call them, to make sure that you have lasting long-term profitability and you're working towards your ultimate target profitability goals. So now we're on to the annual things. What do we need to do on an annual basis for our bookkeeping? One is you got to review your financial reports and compare them, just like we did on the monthly and quarterly basis. We got to do that on an annual basis this time. Look at it, looking for those big peaks and differences. The differences, instead of looking at on month over month, now we're going to look over year. And so you're going to look at this year versus last year versus the year before and compare and see how things are going. What's the overall trend? Are you trending upwards, downwards? What's going on? So, and then make sure you understand why things are working that way. If you don't understand it, you may have just accidentally got it. So make sure you're understanding why things are going up or down. And again, have that accountability partner to ask the tough questions, look over those statements with you to ask those questions. Number 2 on the annual thing is to, after you generally understand and are satisfied with your financial picture, you got to send those to you got to get your taxes prepared. So you can send those off to your tax preparer and say, here are my reports, prepare my taxes. And they're probably gonna have some questions for you. And that's why you need to understand what those questions are, because they're gonna do the same thing. They're gonna look over your information and say, well, what's this, what's that? At least a good one will, hopefully. And you want to be able to answer those quickly, so there's no delay in getting your taxes prepared, so you know exactly how much you need to pay and things like that. So make sure to review them so you understand you can answer their questions when they do come, because they are going to come, and that way you know how much you're going to owe, or hopefully you get a refund or at least a little bit of refund. We don't want to pay too much in to the government, but yeah. And the last thing is just kind of review your goals and then set new goals. Review what you did well, review what you need to be changing and updating. Make sure you're doing those goals, setting new goals, following up with those goals every month, every quarter, and adjusting them as needed. The next thing, so that there you go. There's your checklist. If you have any questions, let me know. To get more information and learn the details, join MMSA. Go to, which is Money Made Simple Academy for quilt shops. Go to Curtis Accounting Solutions /MMSA to join, and look forward to seeing you there. You can get more tips and helpful tricks and things like that on my blog, Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, where I'm at, and I'll talk to you guys later. Okay, bye.